So for more on this and the state of the economy, let's bring in Tennessee Republican Senator Marsha Blackburn. Senator, it used to be Vladimir Putin's fault, according to the White House, that we were experiencing this inflation. And now they're saying this period of transition is really what we are experiencing. How do you see it?
Oh, I have to tell you, John, last July, they started with its transitory, and then in November it was COVID, and then February and March it was Putin's fault, and now they're saying, well, it's an economy in transition. The question is to what? Because people are seeing these higher prices, higher inflation. They don't want this, and they don't want to be moving to an extraordinary time of extraordinarily high inflation. This is not what they want to transition to. So people are quite concerned about what is going on with the economy, the price at the pump, the price at the grocery store, when they're going to buy clothes and athletic equipment for the children for summer camps. All of the inflation is well above what the White House claims to be 8.5% inflation. So people do not want to transition their direction.
It's the term that Brian Deese uses in his interview on Fox News Sunday. He just says, wait a little bit, everything's going to be fine. Listen.
Our economy is in a period of transition. We're moving from the strongest economic recovery in modern history to what can be a period of more stable and resilient growth. And while there are absolutely risks with inflation first and foremost, this is what's most important. We are in this period of transition to more stable growth, but people should also take confidence that we are better positioned than any other country to navigate through this and keep our recovery going.
So I guess we're supposed to feel good that there are other countries that are going to have it worse than we are.
Well, his word salad said nothing at all, except they expect this to continue. Look, they don't want us to be producing energy. They want us to be dependent on other countries. They like $5 a gallon gas, and they've got it. So they want to hold us here. They like higher inflation. They like higher interest rates. Having hardworking people having more money in their paycheck to take home, that's not their idea of a good economy. They want higher taxes. The point is they want to control your life daylight to dark, 24/7. They want higher tax rates, the government in control. This is not where the American people are interested in going. And when you look at the fact that they will not give drill permits, they will not look at domestic production being energy dominant, that tells you they are not going to deal with higher inflation.
Some of the Democrats also like to blame oil companies and other big producers. They're introducing these price gouging bills. Jason Furman, who was the Economic Council chairman under President Obama, says that's a red herring. Listen.
I don't think, though, that these anti-price gouging bills would do much to bring inflation down. They just increase the type of shortages that consumers probably hate even more than the high prices. There's an old saying, the cure for high prices is high prices. That's a little bit of a painful thing to deal with, but it's what elicits the additional supply. It brings more producers into the market, and it's what brings prices down. And we need to let that process work. You try to interfere with it, and you're going to make things worse. We tried that in the 70s. It was a big failure. We shouldn't be repeating it again.
Senator, I guess that sort of explains itself. But I wanted to ask you about something that got you kicked off of Facebook. What is the thing you posted that Facebook didn't like?
Well, Facebook does not like the fact that I have talked about biological males ought not to be competing against biological females. They just get really upset with that, or with trying to get the definition of a woman. So they decided that they would censor me once again. But whether it's Facebook or Twitter, conservatives are accustomed to being censored, because there are some people out there, John, that just just do not want to have an honest discussion about the issues that are facing us, whether it's cultural issues, the issue of life, the issue of inflation. They just don't want to have those conversations. The government, the disinformation governing board, they want to control what you hear, what you say, what you see, and what you think.
Specifically, you wrote that you didn't think that biological males should be competing against biological females in sports, and
That's right.
That just blew up the Facebook. Wow. Senator Marsha Blackburn.
That's right. I think that, yes. Thank you, John.
Senator from Tennessee, Republican. Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.